All right, hey guys. I hope everyone is doing well. This is Rudy. Hey, I've been asked what is the status of my tax situation because since I've started to help organize this event, I told you guys already, but I was contacted by ICE, Immigration's Customs Enforcement, and they wanted to see my birth certificate after I worked for the company for 15 years. And then just last month, the IRS says I owe them $25,000 in back taxes for underreporting my income. And I wrote them a letter back and I said, I don't agree with you and I don't plan on paying for that. And it had a little form and it said, I totally agree, I partially agree, or I do not agree with any of it. So I checked, I do not agree with any of it because they didn't take into account my cost basis, and I don't want to go into all the details right now. I've already done that in a previous video, but I'll tell you guys what happens whenever it happens, but on just principle alone, I ain't going to be pushed around. If I'm convinced that I really did make a mistake, I'll end up paying it if I'm convinced I made a mistake. But I've already looked at what they said, and like I said, they didn't take into account my cost basis, and I did not underreport my income, and I won't pay it. And so we'll just let whatever happens happens. I'm not going to hire a tax lawyer either. I've had some good friends. Well, you need to get a good tax. I ain't getting no tax lawyer. I ain't going to I ain't walking into some joker's office and give him thousands of dollars to, do something that just because the government slapped me with some tax audit crap. But anyway, let's move on. It's not about me. But I will let you guys know what happens, right? I'm not trying to hide anything. I wrote them a letter and they hadn't responded back yet. So, okay, we're coming up on Memorial Day, and Memorial Day is where we honor all of the fallen soldiers in all of America's wars that have died, given their blood, their sweat, their tears, their hard work, everything for the liberties that we enjoy. And those folks, right, the folks who have fought for the liberty of this country, allowed us to grow up in the greatest country this world has ever known, with the most freest society ever known to mankind, America. And, Tom Brokaw wrote a book called The Greatest Generation. The people that experienced the Depression and went to fight in World War II. And they did it not for fame or fortune, but they did it because it was the right thing to do, right? And so thank God for The Greatest Generation. I don't know that much about Tom Brokaw, but I appreciate the fact he acknowledged those who fought in World War II, and he acknowledged those who lasted through the Depression. And if they are known as the greatest generation, I'm thinking, what is our generation going to be known as? This prosperity preacher, American Idol watching, pornographic crap. We're going to be known as the sorriest generation or the most cowardly generation. We are a terrible generation, and let's think about it. When I think about it, I can't even talk straight. People saying that it's not important Obama is ineligible to be president. It's like I can't even talk straight when people tell me it's not important or it's a non-issue. Because like I said before, your DNA is different, mine. It's the single most important issue, with maybe the exception of the Federal Reserve. But what kind of honor does a people have to let a foreigner, a Kenyan-born lying fraud that forged his birth certificate, lied to the American people, knowingly put out a forged birth certificate, knowing that he was born in Kenya, and knowing that he does not qualify to be president, knowing that he is not a natural-born citizen. His father was Kenyan. His father was not an American citizen. He is a dual allegiances, right? And what kind of people would allow a piece of trash like that to walk in, take over as commander-in-chief of the military, take over our nuclear codes, take over making policy decisions for America, and be pushing homosexual gay marriage in our military and in our society? Just come right out and tell everybody in the world we're not a Christian nation. What kind of people would allow this foreign-born piece of trash to come in and do that? A cowardly people. A cowardly, anti-God, anti-morality, anti-Bible people. So Tom Brokaw wrote about the greatest generation. You and I, we're part of the most cowardly generation, or the sorriest generation, or the most generation that's most like Sodom and Gomorrah. We're a filthy, disgusting generation that's turned away from God, and we got no pride in our heritage, right? Pride can be a bad thing, but you can also have good pride. You can have pride in the things that are moral, pride in the things that are of the kingdom of God. And you don't take pride in yourself. You take pride in the fact that, God is doing this, and but it's like we didn't even think enough of our own culture to try to safeguard it, even though our forefathers on Memorial Day, the ones that we're supposed to be remembering, fought and died, gave their lives and their efforts to give us as the recipients of the greatest country on earth, and we let some foreign-born piece of trash, anti-God, anti-Bible, anti-moral piece of trash walk in here and just silence the media, silence anybody that calls themselves conservative, and the mainstream media, and Rush Limbaugh, Bill O'Reilly, Sean Hannity, Sarah Palin, John McCain, Ron Paul, right? They didn't say a word. They let him walk right in, march over the graves of our dead military men and women, march right over the graves and take command of the commander-in-chief of the most powerful military the world has ever known. We didn't say a thing. Our preachers, the so-called salt and light of the earth, got 501c3 chains hanging around their necks. They're not saying a thing. You got just a few people that are willing to say something. I don't know what God's going to do, but if God did want to turn this thing around, it doesn't take very many people. But I pray that justice comes, and I pray that justice comes to everyone that's got it coming. And if you're not covered under the blood of Christ, man, you got, oof. For you guys that say it's not an important issue, like I said, you and I don't have the same DNA. You don't think it's an important issue that our commander-in-chief is a foreign-born piece of trash. Foreign-born piece of trash, man. Oof. God help us all. If you're not busy Saturday, I care about the Constitution, May the 26th. We got some great speakers. It ain't going to be me, so you don't have to listen to me speak all day, but we got other people that speak a whole lot better than me. God bless every one of you. Take care.